The iPod right there. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. How is everyone today? Don't be shy, say hello. Welcome to the morning live. We are starting a new book this morning. It is called Badass Habits by Jen Sincero. Learn how to create and break habits to change your life. Thank you for the follow, Justin. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to the morning live. I do not do yes no questions in the morning. This is a self-development live where we talk how to create better habits, how to implement your personal development that we go through in the morning. We do start out with a 5-minute meditation. It's just a way for you to clear your head and be ready to receive the information we're about to go over. It's a way to just let everything go. Good morning, Brooke. I don't answer yes no questions in the morning. That's exclusively on my evening stream. Even when I do it, it doesn't matter, Justin. Welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Happy Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday. You're right. First day on new feet. Thank you for the follow, Denise. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Hello, Karen. How are you? Okay. You can start early in the morning all you want. It's fine. Not Amish, so. Good morning. How are you, Christy? Early and often, huh? Early and often. Good morning, Indigo. Apparently I'm Amish this morning. I'm telling you, these trolls are amazing. I don't answer yes no questions in the morning. This is exclusively about self-development. Yes no questions are answered on my evening stream. Thank you. Thank you for the roses, TJ. You fell asleep to the live last night. I'll take that as a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment because, yeah. Last night's stream was a bit frustrating as well. I think I was just in a frustrating mood. One more day and this damn Mars retrograde is over. Not that it's the only reason why I'm frustrated, but I am well today. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you are as well. Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't even like trolling. It's stuff in my house. How do you open your third eye? A lot of the times meditation will help you with that. You can check out some guided meditations on YouTube about opening your third eye. Be very careful. Just learn how to, shield yourself and everything like that. So yeah, you'll feel pressure there. But yeah, ask your guides and stuff to kind of bring you some protection and guidance and all of that. But it's good to do meditations on that. Will that be the same for the ringing in your ears? Ringing in your ears is clairaudience. So, yeah, I mean, just kind of opening up in ways like that, it becomes more when you're more open and aware. I was muting more than usual last night. Oh yeah. Yeah, there was a lot. Gotta keep us on our toes though, right? Indigo. Gotta keep us on our toes. I think I'm trying to do too much at once, and that's possible. Focus on one thing, right? So if you're feeling the pressure to open up your third eye, focus on that specifically first, and then go to move on from that. Maybe I want to go green and blue today. Does that make me look more Amish? Tell ya. How would you be able to tell if you're astro projecting while you sleep if you don't dream? Some people say like they feel like the falling back into the body, or you might experience like some sleep paralysis when you're coming back in. Um, so, and that's normal. Especially if you've gotten a full night's sleep and you don't remember waking up and you wake up exhausted. That's another way that could be indicating that you're astro projecting because you're not really getting rest, right? You're out in the spirit world doing Lord knows what. Does discernment come along with the third eye? Discernment comes with your intuition and trusting your intuition. Yeah, I mean, kind of like when you're feeling like falling, it can be. Never feel rested. Chances are you are astral projecting then. Astral, not astro. You wrote it as astro, and I'm saying it as astro. It's coffee. Coffee. And you can astral project even during the day. Like, you can do that in meditation as well. Hello. How are you, Kayla? We'll get started with our meditation here in just a few minutes. I was told that I was. Yeah. There's a practice that you can do to make sure your astral travels are safe and be rested. Yeah. Yeah, the more you kind of dive into learning about it, the more you're going to become more aware and become, more practiced in it, and you can actually get the rest. I'm doing well. I try not to astral project. I am I need all the rest I can get. Although things get crazy. I get a lot of like for me, my dreams are all about messages. I get lots of messages in my dreams. Especially those 2-hour naps that I like to take. They help. I'm not doing yes no questions in the morning. Thank you for asking though, Toasted. That's only on my evening streams. My tattoo's starting to look much better. Got this on Monday. You're welcome. I got into my younger years now. I used it to stay rooted and not travel. Yeah. Same. You know how, like when people are so distracted or you think they're distracted and you think they're daydreaming, chances are that those are the ones that are astral projecting. Thank you, Christy.
They just didn't have a name for it when I was a kid, huh?
Mine, if I do ever, are continuing the next day and have people I don't know, and it's never good. Well, here's the thing. If you see a face, it's a face you know, whether it's in this lifetime or a past lifetime. Our brains and all of that cannot create something that we don't already know. So you've known those people. And if it's never good, learn how to protect yourself each and every night before you go to sleep. Because you can, astral projection, if you don't know what you're doing, can have consequences. So it would be a good thing to kind of research and study. Geese?
Eagle.
Oh, that's an eagle. So, I mean, do some research, learn how to protect yourself before you go to sleep. Or you have passed by them. Your brain sees more in the day than you realize. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, especially depending on where you live. Like, if you live in a place like LA, just think about how many people that you pass, even in cars. Because if you take a quick glance at the person passing you, I mean, that's another face that your brain's going to recognize. I do my yes no questions in the evening on my 8 o'clock stream in the evening. This is all self-development questions of, spirituality and everything. We are starting a new book today, Badass Habits. I am giving away this book and the one we just finished, which is You're a Badass Every Day. I have a pin post on my profile. You can go there, watch the whole video. I think you have to tag 3 friends, type Batty in it to get entered in. So I have extra copies of these, so I want to give those away.
And for an extra $1, I'll throw in an additional 10 books.
Giving away all my books.
Oh, there's fucking so many of them. Not your books, but at the other house.
Yes, I have, DJ. A friend of mine, as far as she's not in here, Brittany, she experiences that a lot. That could be your guides, that could be, it could be a number of different things. I'm sorry to hear that. It's very off. Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny that you say in the shower, because she's like, can they not come to me when I'm in the shower?
When you're cleansing.
It is. It is part of when you're cleansing. You may connect a lot through water.
Yeah. I'm gonna get that dot pen really good. It's hopeless.
Do I know of old ways like runes? I don't. I know of runes. I don't completely study them. Again, Brittany studies them, as does April. They're more knowledgeable in that area.
And I'm just old and ruined.
Just underwater, water, eyes closed. Yeah. Yeah, it's a conduit. Water is a conduit. So it's a way. So where some people, they want to get rooted and grounded through dirt. Some people can ground or open up their pathway through water. Nikki, I don't do yes no questions in the morning. Thank you for the follow, guys. I appreciate it. I'm not answering questions in the morning. That is exclusively on my evening stream at 8 p.m. Yeah, you gave that to me yesterday. Thank you. Oh, you did? Yeah. Does anybody have any more questions before I start our meditation? Again, this is just a 5-minute meditation. It's just a way to relax. Relax your body, especially unclench your jaw. And we want to clear out our head, right? Our thoughts are going to want to come in. We want to breathe, focus on our breathing. So if you do start entertaining those thoughts, just bring it back to your breathing. It'll help clear it out and bring you back to center. This is a great practice to do throughout the day. Again, all you have to do, you can set a 5-minute timer, and that's all you need to do. Stick around. Stick around. We're gonna do one right now. You can do guided meditations too. Is he going on a road trip today for a Singer machine? He's going to work. Indigo wants to know if you're going on a road trip for a Singer machine, because that's all you were talking about last night. His first thing he saw this morning, he's like, damn sewing machine.
I'm going to my sister's. I'm getting my grandma's back.
But yeah, DJ, just, you can do some guided meditations, and that's going to help you learn, to do it yourself. But a lot of it is just really sitting in silence and not entertaining thoughts. And when you feel yourself going into your thoughts, it's bringing it back to your breathing. It's Brittany. Charles woke me up with you next to my head. Welcome in, Brittany.
Have you seen a holster? Hard case.
On
the table, kitchen.
It might be, or it might be in the closet, in the other bedroom.
In the bedroom. That's the case. Oh. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Just a hard case.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was, but
not the hard case, the carrying case, but the hard case.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I'll be on my phone in a minute. Yeah, we were just talking about you, Brittany. Somebody was asking if you've ever seen faces while in the shower. I was like, sounds like Brittany. Brittany face. It's Brittany, bitch. That's funny. Charles is like, wake up, Brittany.
Oh, get me your shoes today.
All the time. Yeah, that's what I said. I know you do. Okay, have a great day, DJ. Thanks for stopping in. Thank you. It's the same one I usually wear. I just turn it inside out because it's reversible.
Oh, man.
Good morning, Monica. Thank you again, DJ. I appreciate all those gifts. Monica, have you seen the new tattoo? I don't know if you saw it the other day. My little phoenix rising.
Okay, that's fucking... Since Dingus doesn't wear it. I don't know where my fucking Jasper fucking point is either.
It was in the bedroom.
The Jasper point?
Thank you.
Where is it? Not my 5.
I love it too. Thank you. It is. She did a great job. Yeah, I feel like I need to get a new emblem. I need to get something different.
A couple crowbars?
Yeah, a couple crowbars. I love my Labradorite, but I felt the need to take it off a few weeks ago or a week ago. So I need to get something new.
I'll make that into something.
Yeah.
What do you think? I think I can do it. Yeah.
You probably could. Yeah. Have a great day, DJ. Appreciate you. We'll look for you later.
I'll make it. Would you wear anything?
I would need it to be cleansed.
What do you mean?
There's a lot of stuff in those arrowheads. There's a lot of energy in the arrowheads.
The protection.
All right.
You don't think I cleanse them before I fucking bring them home?
No.
Absolutely. We smoke weed together.
All right, guys. I'm going to set the timer for our 5-minute meditation so we can get going and start the new book, Badass Habits. So, again, take some time, close your eyes, take some deep breaths. It's a good practice to inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. If you find yourself entertaining your thoughts, just bring it back to your breathing. It's going to help unclench your jaw and relax your body. So I'm going to go off camera for a minute during this time. So 5 minutes is starting on the clock. Time is up. Welcome in, Lindsay. No, yes, no questions in the morning unless you're asking about certain things to whether it's your spiritual journey or if it is your if you have questions about what we discuss on here. But I don't answer yes, no questions in the morning. That's exclusively on my evening stream. Good morning, good morning. Aw, thanks, Tony. I appreciate your support. Alright, guys, so today we are starting Badass Habits. Cultivate the confidence, boundaries, and know-how to upgrade your life by Jen Sincero. This is the final book of the Badass series. Is it common to get messages during meditation? Yes, it is. It's very common. In fact, you can always go into the meditation asking for messages or asking a specific question and you'll get the answers through that way. You absolutely can. Think of it this way. When you go into meditation, you're going in a dreamlike state. State akin to sleep, or, meditation is like that, was it theta? That theta state. And yes, you're connecting. You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah. Meditation is actually pretty interesting when you can really get into that state. You experience a lot. You can experience a lot. And sometimes you experience nothing, right? But if you can set an intention too, you may get more than you bargained for too. Because the universe is all about, oh, you want this? Let me give you some more. So. You're welcome. Have a great day at work. Alright, hopefully this coffee is kicked in. Alright, so we're going to start with the introduction just because she is wordy and says a lot in those too. Huh? Thought what through? You can't find your card? Awesome. Now you're prepared. Okay. So the introduction starts. When I first decided to write a book about habits, the topic seemed like a natural follow-up to the other badass books. In the original, You Are a Badass, I mentioned this little truism. Our thoughts become our words become our beliefs become our habits, and our habits become our realities. Habits are the only piece of the equation I had yet to delve into deeply, and I couldn't wait to get cracking. That is, until the following conversation with myself crawled up and sat on my chest. Me. Habits, of course. Why? They're the very sculptors of our realities. I'm going to write the fuck out of this book. Me. Enjoying a tower of onion rings a few days after giving up fried food. Are we going to write about how to purchase a gym membership and never use it? Or how to stop cursing? Because we could write the fuck out of that. Me, oh my god, that's so true. My habits suck. What the hell am I thinking? I have the self-discipline of a toddler. I began listing all the reasons why I was unqualified, unable, and unauthorized to write this book. How I was about to tank my brand, insult my readers, and inspire my publisher to ask for its money back. Then I realized, oh look, I'm excelling at a habit right now. That most unsavory of human habits, focusing on the negative. I'm blowing past the fact that I haven't touched a cigarette in 2 decades, even though I love smoking more than I love most people. That I'm a highly accomplished flosser, hydrator, gratituder, writer, bedmaker, meditator, and show up on timer. And that I'll take a backpack and a high alpine trail over a stinky gym any day. Cursing and fried food, however, there's still work to be done around cursing and fried food. Girl, same. I bring this up because if you're reading this book with any skepticism about your stick to it, Vanessa. Okay, she likes to make up words. When it comes to habits, I want to remind you that nobody is perfect and that we really can do anything we set our minds to. Thank you. Including things we fake set our minds to in the past. And that we all tend to sell ourselves short and focus on our failures instead of celebrating our victories. Everybody who has been with me for a while knows I am constantly saying, acknowledge your wins. I don't care how big or small it is. You have to acknowledge when something goes right, when you manifest even the smallest things, even when you do the smallest things. You have to celebrate that. Even people who are successful beyond belief admit to occasionally letting negativity and feelings of inadequacy push them around. I've heard some say that every once in a while they'll forget how much they love what they do, ignore the standing ovations and rave reviews they receive from the outside world, and focus all their attention on that one stink bomb hater on Instagram who thinks they suck. Hand him the bullhorn and let his opinions drown out the cheering crowds. Mastering the powerful positive mindset. Oh my God, my cats. Mastering the powerful positive mindset that required to keep upping your habits game is all about staying aware. Well, there's my coffee call out. Shifting your focus when you catch yourself wandering down woe is me lane and consciously thinking thoughts that are aligned with where you want to go and who you want to become. When it comes to building great habits and ditching lousy ones, your commitment to staying focused on who you're becoming, regardless of where you are, who you are right now, is the mightiest power you've got. Contrary to popular belief, habits are more about who you're being than what you're doing. One of the main reasons we don't stick to the habits we love to adopt or permanently give the heave-ho to the habits we'd love to lose is that we focus on taking action, which is important, but we don't get on board emotionally and mentally, which is more important. Then, when our new habits get challenging or boring, a favorite pastime of most habits thanks to the fact that they're so repetitive, we abandon them for something easier or something more fun or something that offers more immediate gratification or something that tastes really good with ketchup on it. For example, let's say you've tried over and over to break your habit of spending more than you make. You've got a well-paying job and you put part of each paycheck towards your credit card bill and a little into your savings account, and you carefully map out your budget each month. Then, in spite of your careful planning, you find yourself going on trips and forensically investigating furniture sales and jovially shouting, "Drinks are on me!" And before you know it, your savings account is a ghost town, and you're pleading on the phone with Pat at the collections agency again. Chances are excellent that deep down you're scared to stop overspending because you're trying to fill an emotional hole with stuff and experiences.
Sorry. I did find 500 milligrams of gummies, so that's good.
Yay.
Yeah, so when fucking shit doesn't go right, I'll just eat fucking 500 milligrams of fucking gummies.
Or maybe you've come from a family full of spenders and you subconsciously worry you'll be judged and or abandoned by them if you break with tradition and get your financial act together. It's essential when building good habits to focus on the whole enchilada. The whole enchilada. Your head, your heart, and your hands. Otherwise, the meditating stops. The fingernails start being bitten again. Your calm, sober repose at yet another passive-aggressive family gathering turns into, "All right, I've had enough. Who wants to play tequila, truth or dare?"
I want to find cash app cards.
My hope is that this book offers some fresh perspectives on proven habit forming processes and helps you dethrone whatever obstacles you've allowed to lord over you in the past. I also hope that this makes this whole habit building and busting experience easier by boiling down a seemingly complex process and doing it out into manageable bite-sized exercises that you implement one day at a time. I want you to get rolling and figure out which tools work best for you so you can start seeing real results. The kind of results you've yet to behold that actually stick around. I'm a coach, not a scientist. So while ensmarting you is a goal, nothing gets me all teary-eyed and verklempt like the hallelujah of a dream realized. You see that black belt you just karate'd your way into? You did that. Here, hold my snacks. I've got to take a picture of this. Welcome in, Lisa. I'll start by briefly explaining what habits are and how they work. I'll help you become aware of the habits you've already got, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and figure out which ones have to go, which new ones you'd like to create, and who you need to start being in order to pull this all off. I'll also get you good at setting nonsense boundaries so you can alert your tribe and yourself that your needs are now a priority, that you're creating the space, emotionally and physically, to allow yourself to fully flourish. And yes, this being good at setting boundaries thing is a habit you're going to keep, perhaps amid the indignant screams and protests of all those who are being booted out of first place. I need a good habit schedule, just saying, right? Once we've got your heart and head on board, I'll help you pick one clearly defined habit to work on for the rest of the book. I'll walk you through a powerful 21-step process to either anchor in your new habit or permanently banish an old one, depending on what you choose. Ideally, you'll take the process day by day over the course of 3 weeks in order to keep the beast of overwhelm at bay. Give your new habit some time to take hold and keep the work as interesting as possible. The goal here is to have an interactive experience. I want you to hit the ground running and start becoming the person you're excited to become while you're reading this book, instead of just becoming someone who now has a lot more information about what habits are. And we talk about that. That's why we chunk this up, right? And we apply what we learn. Or who understands the science behind habits, how habits work, or who knows how it feels to fall asleep with a book about habits lying on your face. Please get a new notebook and dedicate it exclusively to the work we're about to do. No grocery lists. And start cultivating your new habit with a clean slate, focusing on the exciting new life that awaits you, as opposed to letting failures you've experienced in the past cloud your confidence. Who you desire to become is not only available to you, but you're meant to become this upgraded version of yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the desire in the first place, and you sure as hell wouldn't be bothering with this book. Trust that each new day holds untold possibilities, and remember, in every moment, you have the profound ability to make choices that will completely change your habits and your reality. Either way, either right away or over time. Making powerful, life-altering choices is simply a habit that you've already started mastering. And we have our first success story. I'm struggling with my schedule, but my alarms help. Yes. All right, so we have Julie, who is 60, gave up being a lazy ass and got in shape. My doctor told me I was headed for type 2 diabetes and that I needed to move more and try to lose some weight. I didn't like the sound of needing to be on meds my whole life, and I also didn't like having a solid 10 to 15 pounds of extra blood in my club. So I decided that rain or shine, I could manage to exercise every morning before work on a yoga mat in my living room for at least 15 minutes. How hard is that to do for my health? I found a great online workout that was a combo of yoga, stretching, muscle strength, and cardio. Every morning I pulled the yoga mat out of the closet, and I found that after stretching and doing some basic yoga moves, I was awake enough to do a little more. I did some strength training exercises using my own body weight and thought, geez, if I weighed less, it wouldn't be so hard to hoist my petard off this mat. 3 push-ups led to 5 to 10, and now my daily routine is about 30 minutes total. As soon as I started doing this, I began to feel better about myself. The thrills from little wins will keep you rolling towards victory. I forgot to set my alarms last night and fell asleep. Got to bed around 1 this morning. Oof. I felt stronger. It kept me motivated, and I now look forward to doing my workout at least 5 days a week. At the same time, I started an online diet and health program that taught me about the psychology of why I eat and how to change my lifelong habits. This was an eye-opener. Mindless eating versus mindful eating was huge. I learned to actually look at the food I was eating, not at the TV. To take a moment between bites and really taste what I was eating, not just chuck it down my gullet. I also learned to understand my personal hunger scale. When I wanted something to eat, I would ask myself, am I actually hungry or just bored, stressed, sad, or agitated? Another tip was not waiting until I was at code red level starving on my hunger scale, because that means you grab anything from a vending machine or dive into the leftover donuts from the morning meeting. I learned other strategies and hacks. A big one was to always have a healthy, yummy snack in my bag, at work and at home. If you're planning to eat dinner out, go online and look at the menu ahead of time and figure out what the best choice is and stick with it. Because otherwise, you'll see what everyone else is ordering and fly off the calorie rails. The other big change of behavior for me was to start writing down everything I ate every day, to be more mindful of what I was eating, and weighing myself every day. Sounds hideous, but it worked. It's now 2 years later, and I've lost 15 pounds, albeit slowly, but more importantly, I've kept it off. I continue to weigh myself every day and track my daily food. I've learned that this is what works for me. Of course, there are days I go way over my calorie target for the day, but I don't get upset about it. I just adjust the next day. Believe me, I love food, and I still eat what I want. I just monitor my portion sizes and always try to tap into mindful eating and not mindless eating. You've been meal prepping your lunches for this reason. Nice. So I'm guessing this means do the yoga that I watched the other night and said, I should do this one. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So, I mean, I swear, I thought he was gone and we were gonna have a quiet morning. But no, we gotta throw a fit. Awesome. So this is, I mean, that was just the introduction. That's not even the first chapter. But that's all about, figuring out what it is that you want to change, right? And we're going to slowly, put it into place. You can create a schedule and all of that, but we have to figure out what works. No, he was fine. He just can't find his Cash App card, and of course, it's everyone's fault. We don't have to be because he is. Exactly. All right. So we're going to do the first chapter. And let me see something real quick before we get in there. Okay. I was seeing if there was anything as far as like homework. I'm sure there is kind of within the chapter, but not like it was in being a badass at making money. So, all right. So chapter 1, who you're in the habit of being. My brother Stephen and his wife Jenny came for a visit one year during Fiesta de Santa Fe, a historical celebration that attracts thousands of people to my New Mexican hometown every fall. We didn't participate in any of the festival's festivities during their stay, but we did brave the throngs of revelers in order to walk downtown and have ourselves some margaritas. The walk took us about 45 minutes each way, and after a lovely afternoon of cocktailing, we found ourselves back in my driveway just as the sun was setting. We stood around, taking in the reddening sky, slightly buzzed on tequila, and the smug satisfaction of having it all the way there and back on foot, when out of nowhere, Jenny started clutching at her throat as if she couldn't breathe. Have a great day, Lisa. Right, we struggle enough with kids. She suddenly realized with horror that somewhere along the way her diamond pendant had fallen off the chain around her neck and was lost. My brother immediately flew into action. I'll retrace our steps, he said, his eyes thoroughly scanning the ground beneath Jenny's feet before he slowly and methodically turned and headed back out my driveway. I began protesting that it would be dark in a matter of minutes. Oh my gosh, cats. That he was high if he thought he could find any itty-bitty diamond among the sea of fallen leaves and hordes of people. But Jenny turned to me and said, "Let him go. He's weirdly amazing at finding shiny things. He's like a crow." So we stood and watched as Steve headed down my street and back into town, with nothing but his cell phone flashlight lighting his way, and the thrill of the quest lightening his heart. Meanwhile, Jenny and I got in my car and headed back to the bar to crawl around on the floor and see if we could find her pendant ourselves. On the way, we passed Stephen, who simply raised his free hand in the air and waved when he heard us honk and holler, unwilling to take his eyes off the ground for even a second. After about 10 minutes of trying and failing to find a parking place in the midst of the melee, I was about to give up and head back home when we got a text from my brother that read, "Found it," to which I replied, "I don't believe you." "But why, Steve, right?" To which he replied with a picture of himself standing in the middle of the street, each arm around a tourist he talked into posing with him, proudly holding Jenny's pendant in his front teeth. I later learned it had been kicked off the sidewalk into someone's driveway, and that he found it anyways. My jaw hit the floor and has remained there ever since, but Jenny just shook her head and said, "I'm telling you, he's a crow. He finds shit all the time." Steve used to have a job in the diamond business as a sorter. He'd spend his days in a room called the pit with a handful of other sorters, categorizing large piles of not-so-large diamonds according to the 3 C's, cut, carat, and color, by holding each one up to a light with a pair of tweezers and looking at it through a loupe. I hope that's how you say it. While inspecting a diamond, it wasn't uncommon to accidentally tweezer it a bit too hard and send it ricocheting across the room. Doink! Where it would land somewhere on the not-so-clean linoleum floor, on a shelf, or perhaps in someone's hair. There was no telling how many precious stones had gone missing in the pit over the years, and finding them became a perpetual Easter egg hunt. One that Steve participated in with vigor every time he put down his tweezers for the 2 years that he worked there. This is how, in the basement of a diamond wholesaler on 47th Street in New York City, Steve became the patron saint of lost shiny things. His impressive resume went on to boast of a diamond earring discovered on the floor of a crowded deli, a tennis bracelet spotted next to an ATM machine, countless coins, chains, keys, watches, precious stones, and one morning, while walking to the train, he found the necklace that Jenny, the patron saint of broken clasps, had lost 3 months before, nestled in the top of a snowbank. Steve never zeroed in on the tiny, lost, and shiny until he worked in the diamond business. But thanks to that job, always being on the lookout, consciously and unconsciously, became a habit. Habits, no-brainers, a routine tendency or behavior, knee-jerkery, beliefs, thoughts, and actions that one repeats on autopilot. That's the definition of habits. Here are some key elements involved in habit creation. Number 1, the trigger. Every time Steve took a pause from his work, it triggered his habit of scoping the room for lost diamonds. Triggers send cues to our brains that it's time to perform a habit. A trigger can be a sound. The noise from an alarm clock triggers us to wake up and get out of bed. An action, finishing dinner, is a trigger to light a ciggy. A thought, it's 4 o'clock, so I reckon I should feed the dog. A feeling, when the temperature drops, you rub your arms to warm up. A smell, when you smell your neighbors barbecuing, you casually swing by. Oh, I didn't realize you were cooking. Is this a bad time? A sight, seeing a person on the street, is a trigger to say hello. Or an emotion, feeling upset is a trigger to eat a cherry pie. Triggers begin a chain reaction that results in the completion of the habit. And the sequence goes a little something like this. Number 2, the sequence. Our bodies are expert problem solvers, running around with a clipboard, making sure everything's working in the most efficient and productive manner possible. Moving blood where it's needed most, breaking down food, healing broken bones and torn skin, sprouting hair and toenails, taking down disease, unleashing a flood of tears and obscenities when you accidentally drop your phone in the toilet. Habits are the body's way of lightening the load on our brains, of putting problem solving on autopilot in order to free up room to take in more information and perform more tasks. Habits work in a sequence of sorts that starts with the trigger, getting in the car, which signals a need, I don't want to die, which then leads to a habit of response, putting on a seatbelt, which then leads to the reward, I feel snugly and safe. Here are some more examples. Trigger, your dog walks into the room. The need, to physically experience his insane cuteness. Response/habits, smothering, kissing, acting like a moron. Rewards, you feel happy. Trigger, you're driving home from work. The need, to live a longer, healthier life. Response or habit, stop at the gym and work out for 45 minutes. The reward, you feel invigorated and have a sense of accomplishment. Next trigger, your divorce lawyer calls. Need, to throw a plate at the wall. Response habit, pace around in circles and twirl your hair around your finger. Reward, you feel calmer. These are all examples of how triggers set your habits in motion, but triggers can also be used to help you quit bad habits. And I'll show you how to do that later in the book. Number 3, repetition. Think of your brain as a jungle full of images and ideas and feelings, all growing and twisting and tangling around one another as you gather more and more information throughout your life. Now imagine that all of your thought patterns and knee-jerk reactions and beliefs about the way things are have cut well-worn paths through this jungle in your mind. Paths that you walk down every day, without even needing to look where you're going. When you decide to make a change, hey, I'm no longer going to be a lazy, out-of-shape person who secretly litters. I'm going to step it up and get me some different habits. Repetition is the tool you'll use to hack through those vines, wrestle fallen trees out of your way, and forge a new path through the jungle of your mind. Repetition of your new habit will require some mental and physical effort at first, but the scales on the piano that you struggle to remember and execute become second nature after you've played them 300 times. Tying your shoes after decades of doing it takes zero thought these days. Answering questions with a "you betcha" tiger unconsciously comes flying out of your mouth after making fun of grandma for saying it your whole life. I'm so in the habit of calling my mother to check in on her when I get in my car each morning that once I dialed her up while she was sitting right next to me in town for a visit. When you repeat something enough times, you establish new neural pathways in the brain that your habit flows through effortlessly and automatically, allowing you to literally forget about it. Take a moment right now to think about something you've used to struggle with that's now a habit. Working your cell phone, Shaving, hitting a tennis ball, driving a car, respecting your neighbor Sarah's wishes that you refer to her as Desert Flower from now on. It's nearly impossible to remember all the little details you used to have to keep in mind when you were anchoring in this behavior that's now a habit because you literally changed the wiring of your brain through repetition. Whew. Ease is number 4. It's no big surprise to discover that the easier things are, the more likely we are to do them. This goes for the habits we'd like to form, the habits we'd like to break, and the habits we don't even realize we've signed up for, which, believe you me, account for an alarming amount of them. Thanks, Mom and Dad. My brother didn't set out to be the guy who finds sparkly stuff that most people don't see. He developed that habit because it was easy. It was fun. Everyone around him was doing it. He repeated the action of searching over and over again each day, and he got a rush every time he found something good. Steve unwittingly followed the golden rules of habits. The easier you make it to put them on repeat, and the harder you make them repeating the habits you want to lose, the more success you'll have. This is why scheduling new habits first thing in the morning often gets you the best results. It's easier to do things before the distractions of the day worm their way into your progress. This is also why who and what you surround yourself with is so crucial. It's easier to quit drinking soda if you surround yourself with people who don't drink it, and if you never keep any in your house. It's easier to go to yoga if the studio's just down the street. It's easier to be successful if you hang out with inspiring, successful people. It's easier to stop watching TV if you keep it in the garage. It's easier to have a negative outlook on marriage if you're raised by divorced, unhappy people. It's easier to accept fish as a breakfast food if you live in Japan. Number 5 is patience. Most habits score woefully low in immediate gratification department, with the exception of things like taking a shower, instant clean and refreshed body, making your bed, my room's suddenly so tidy, or eating breakfast, I'm not hungry anymore. Most habits take a while to produce the desired result, which makes them more difficult to stick with because we humans love us some payoff. Eating lentils instead of ice cream will eventually, hopefully, help lower your cholesterol. Lifting weights every day may or may not take forever to produce a tight ab or the swell of a new muscle. Meditating for 30 minutes a day may one day make you instantly feel more calm and centered, but first it may leave you wondering what the hell the point is for years. This is why things like relishing the fact that you're showing up at all is so important. Why keeping track of progress you've made so you can see how far you've come is so important. Why looking for the little victories and rewards is so encouraging. I want to die after the 50th sit-up, but I used to want to die after the 30th. Woot! Anchoring in a habit is like moving a giant pile of pebbles from one place to another, stone by stone. You make a tiny dent, hone your moves. It gets easier and easier every time you do it, and eventually you will indeed be starting a new pile of rocks. You just can't always see your progress as it's happening. Later in the book, I'm going to give you tips that help you practice patience. Don't we all need that? And stay course while your habit takes its own sweet time to settle in. But right now, I want you to go deeply into the most important tip for creating a new habit and for making any major upgrades in your life, really. Shift your identity to match the habits you're adopting. So that's number 6, your identity. Studies have shown that nearly half of the actions we perform every day are habitual. Drinking a cup of coffee in the morning, praying, slouching, bitching, talking with our mouths full, looking for shiny things on the ground, etc. But habits are responsible for much more than just the actions we take. Our beliefs, thoughts, and words are also habits. Habits that inform the way that we perceive the world around us, mold our identities, and yes, take the action we take. One of the main reasons we fail to stick with new good habits and ditch negative ones is that we focus on changing what we're doing or not doing without also making sure that we embrace this habit as a new and valuable part of our identity. For example, if you decide you're going to lose 30 pounds, along with refraining from eating a bunch of crap, filling your fridge with healthy, low-cal food, working out, and getting a tattoo that says, if it's fried, it's denied, you also need to become the person who weighs 30 pounds less, who struts around like, yeah, this is my body. These are my excellent eating habits. It's no biggie. It's just who I am and how I roll. If you're identifying instead as the heavier version of yourself who somehow miraculously dropped 30 pounds, you'll most likely put the weight back on because you're still identifying as someone who has a weight issue. It's why people who win the lottery almost always wind up broke again. Hi, Maddie. They still identify as broke. Me? Rolling in the dough? Who would have ever thunk it? I keep waiting to wake up and wind up back in my normal life. This amount of money doesn't even seem real, etc. Even though they've suddenly become rich. In Alcoholics Anonymous, along with the laying off the booze, refraining from hanging out in bars, and calling your sponsor whenever you feel yourself slipping, you're also asked to anchor in an identity every time you speak at a meeting. Hi, I'm Janice, and I'm an alcoholic. I'm on my way to the first appointment in ultrasound and can't stop puking. Oh, I'm sorry, Maddie. I'm sending you so much love and healing vibes. Let us know how it goes. Everything's going to be good. I hope it eases up. By owning the fact that you're an addict and hence cannot and will not touch a drop of alcohol, you're much more likely to successfully dump your drinking habit than if you identified yourself this way. Hi, I'm Janice, and even though I wake up hungover and unsure of where I am on a regular basis, I can handle the random cocktail here and there, no problem, no problemo. By shifting your identity to align with the habits you're working to adopt, you prepare yourself to live a totally new reality by erasing the inner struggle of I'm doing X, but I'm actually an imposter, so it probably won't last because it's not who I really am. So I'm kind of struggling with that portion. I'm not going to lie, because you're still identifying as an alcoholic. That's the one thing, and I'm not bashing Alcoholics Anonymous, because I feel Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, GA, all of that, I feel like they do help you in ways by taking it day by day. But I've always wondered why they still identify as what they're losing, right? They don't want to be an alcoholic, and I understand, like, it's an addiction and they feel, you enter recovery, right? You never really lose that part of you. But I've always had a hard time grasping that. We just had a siren alarm go off and it said to get out and stay inside. Oof. I can't, I'm still, what the heck? Wonder what's going on. Definitely keep your door locked. Stay safe. Fuck. So weird. So weird. But that's always been like the one thing I've stumbled over when you're trying to shift your identity, because you're still claiming to be an alcoholic, but perhaps the way that they view it is a little different. So changing your actions in order to form a new habit without also changing who you're being is like running into the wind. Yes, it's possible to put your head down, run as hard as you can, and gain some ground, but you're much more likely to give up and return to your old ways than if you run in the same direction as the wind. Kentucky. Is there something going on? I don't have internet. I'm like on the edge of my seat here. Alright, I'm going to continue until we get some more info from Brittany. Getting a handle on how you perceive yourself and the world around you is critical because of a certain driving force that all but the most highly evolved humans fall prey to on a daily basis. The human need to be right. There are few things that make the human heart sing more than getting every answer right on a test. Then discovering that I, and not my friend who kept me waiting for an hour, wrote down the correct time to meet, then correctly guessing that Jill and Rob would be pregnant within a year. Then having your chosen candidate sweep the election, then knowing Nirvana was cool before everyone else figured it out. We literally kill one another because we righteously believe this land is my land, not your land, that you should govern, worship, love, appear, and generally just behave the way I deem is the correct way. We're so in love with being right, we even gather in groups and swap stories of our proudest, most rightest moments. I told Sheila that if she stands up in the canoe, she's going to fall in. So what does she do? She stands up in the canoe. And what happens? There are 3 little words that all humans long to hear more than any others. You are right. Oh. Is it... Oh. Is it like a tornado watch? Tornado warning? Yes. Heck. Our need to prove that our version of reality is real and right goes away beyond our fragile ego's need for validation. However, and often touches on something much more primal. Here's how deep down and dirty need to be right works. Human being plus being right equals I'm safe. Subconsciously, I need to know that X is true because it has formed my perception of reality. Having a reality that is solid means I feel secure in spite of the fact that I'm spinning around on a ball in infinite space, and that my impending death is actually the only thing I can be absolutely sure of. Yeah, great time for good habits and planning. Human beings are scared shitless of change. Change dismantles the known and pulls our sense of security out from under us. Change opens up a never-before experienced void of possibility that could actually be, and oftentimes is, way more awesome than the known experience we're clinging to. But because change is unknown and threatens our reality, it makes us very uncomfy. So we tend to take great precautions to stay far away from it as possible. Even the most daredevil-y among us have their limits, although they may not easily admit it. If you're a person who prides yourself on being a great adventurer, who's up for anything, who claims to embrace change, I freaking spoon change to sleep every night, okay? Dig deep and own up to the excuses you fall back on when a particular change is out of your comfort zone. Also realize that there could be changes you've never even considered that could totally blindside you. Losing all your money, having your house float away in a flood, finding out that your mom is a serial killer. Okay, that went left fast. There ain't no shame in being human, and owning your fears is essential if you want to move through them. Human beings would often rather adapt to the fun-free familiar instead of risking the unknown. Until, and unless, the familiar becomes so unbearable that they're willing to risk taking the leap into the void of change. Right? Damn, Mom. Because our hell-bent dedication to being right when it comes to our favorite topic, ourselves, we will defend our identities to the death, even if we're miserable and our identities aren't something we're proud of. For example, back in the day when I was perfecting the art of being perpetually broke, I would get extremely grouchy if anyone questioned my ability to be financially successful, because it threatened the rickety identity I was familiar with. What do you mean I could make more money if I changed my attitude and did things differently? I've tried for 40 years to make money as a writer, and I'm living in a garage, cutting my own hair and sleeping on a futon on the floor. I suck at making money. Trust me, I have a lifetime of proof. Even if we love to make a change, we subconsciously fear that if we stop believing our stories about who we are and what's available to us, the foundation of our realities will disappear, and we will disappear right along with it. A tad dramatic, yes, but powerful enough to inspire people to spend entire lifetimes stuck in jobs they hate and abysmal relationships, and to generally deny themselves the things and experiences that would have them leaping out of bed in toe-stubbing excitement each morning. We are constantly, whether we realize it or not, building a case for our rightness. When I was broke and living in the garage, I was always on the lookout for proof that I couldn't make money. I spat on the ground about all the evil things people did to make and keep their money so I could prove that the quest for riches was immoral, as opposed to acknowledging all the beautiful things people did for and with money. I surrounded myself with other broke people who gave me tips on the best credit cards to transfer my debts to, who told me where the good thrift stores were, who loved to bitch and moan about how expensive everything was too, as opposed to people who would kick my ass to up my game. I was a master at finding fire sales, the cheapest gas stations in town, and roadblocks to my success, as opposed to terrifying, exciting, lucrative opportunities that pushed me to grow and totally change my life for the better. Our realities are determined by how we habitually perceive ourselves and our worlds. Oh my goodness. This is a long chapter. The chapters are long. In every single moment, there is an infinite number of ideas, sights, sounds, smells, opinions, and opportunities swirling around us. And what we choose to focus our attention on and how we choose to think and speak about it is based on the reality we're participating in at the moment. For example, 4 people can walk by a woman standing on a ladder, painting the outside of her house, and each person can experience this a completely different way. Let's say one of the people walking by is newly engaged, and when she looks at the woman, she sees all fluttery and thinks, I can't wait to pick out a color to paint our new house together. Let's say the second person walking by just got cheated on yet by another in a long line of terrible girlfriends. He may look at the woman, find her attractive, but think, don't fall for it, man. She'll rope you in and then toss you out like an old rag. And let's say the third person walking by is launching a business as a shoe designer. She may look at the woman and think, that's such an interesting place to put a buckle on a sandal, and I wonder where she got those. The last person, a busy mother of 3 who skipped breakfast, might glance at the woman and think, maybe I'll have roast beef sandwiches for lunch. That's wrong. The first step to making any major change in your life is always awareness. When it comes to matching your identity to the habits you want to form or free yourself from, you're going to want to start noticing the specifics of how you're behaving right now so you can change anything that's not in alignment with where you're heading. Pay attention to your words, thoughts, beliefs, and actions, and challenge yourself with thoughts like, If I want to be a non-smoker, maybe I should beg my boyfriend to roll down his window when we drive by someone smoking a cigarette so I can savor the secondhand smoke. Perhaps I should ignore that person and simply ask my boyfriend how his day was. Identities come equipped with matching habits. When I finally decided I was going to heal my relationship with money, as in go out and actually make some, I did everything I could think of to crawl out of my hole. I read books about wealth consciousness, went to money making seminars, took classes, hired coaches, but one of the most profound things I did was change who I was being. I forced myself to stop identifying as a broke ass loser and started identifying as someone who made money effortlessly. Nothing had changed yet in my environment or my bank account, but I acted as if it had. I started thinking, acting, and perceiving the world like the person I wanted to become. For example, every time I had the impulse to say I can't afford it, which was pretty much any time anyone asked me to do anything, I replaced it with this thought: money flows to me easily and freely. I walked around saying this to myself all day long, and because I'm human and I love to be right, I started looking for proof that money did indeed flow to me easily and freely. I'd find $1 on the street. I'd get a freelance job out of nowhere. I'd get $20 from my dad for my birthday. And instead of ignoring these tiny moments of financial felicity or immediately falling back into focusing on what the hell I was doing with my life, I celebrated that money was right then and there flowing to me easily and freely. Habits define who you're being at a certain moment in time. They're not who you are. Not only did putting money flows to me easily and freely on repeat make me feel a whole lot more inspired, but it opened my eyes to all the things I couldn't see when I was so busy proving that I can't afford it was the truth. I went after opportunities that before would have been out of my reach or full on invisible to me. I invested money I didn't have on educating myself and starting new businesses. I stretched myself and took terrifying leaps into the unknown instead of hiding in the snore hole of whining and complaining about how hard everything was. Adopting the identity of someone who was successful made me look for solutions, whereas identifying as someone who was broke made me look for excuses. It was large, Marge. I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was. From Muhammad Ali. Pick an identity right now that you've often used to describe yourself. It can be anything from being lazy to organized, to punctual, to spontaneous, to confident, to musical, to bad at math, to a real people pleaser. We're going to step back and notice how your habitual words, thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and actions have helped you form this identity, so that when you work on developing new identities and new habits, you have an example from your own life to use as a reference. So, with words, how do you talk about yourself in reference to this identity of yours? Do you apologize for it? Celebrate it? Act like it's no big deal? For example, I'm an extremely tidy person. I make my bed the moment I get up in the morning, immediately unpack and put away my stuff when I get home from a trip, and put my spices away while I'm still cooking, even though I almost always need to get them out and use them again. Grumbles at self. I also have a constant stream of house guests and often find myself saying, I know, I can't help it, just ignore me, while gently pushing them aside so I can fluff the pillow behind them, or while neatly lining up all of our shoes in the front hallway. I often make announcements to anyone who will listen, such as, I'm glad I'm so persnickety. It makes my life so much easier. As I pull my lipstick out of my pocket in my purse where it always is, because I always put it back where it belongs. I like being tidy. I always have been tidy, and I'm into it, and my words reflect it. Thoughts. What thoughts run through your mind when you do things like walk into a room, meet a new person, read the news, or drive down a new street as a result of who you're being? For example, if I walk into someone's office and see a bunch of stuff piled on their desk, I get anxious and can't fathom how they're able to concentrate with all of that crap all over the place. Clutter makes me think about cleaning. Tidiness makes me think all is well. I like tidiness in other people too. I notice right away when I walk into someone's house if stuff is put away or not. Don't come to my house, girl. Beliefs. What beliefs, conscious or unconscious, are you buying into as a result of who you're being? Being tidy makes my life easier because I always know where my stuff is. I've got my own back. I have my act together. I'm in control. Feelings. When you think about being X, what comes up for you emotionally? Tidiness makes me feel calm, accomplished, happy, secure, safe, cozy, and a little superior to people who aren't tidy. There, I said it. Repeated actions. What habitual actions do you find yourself repeating because of who you're being? For me, it's straightening, fluffing, folding, stacking, sponging off, organizing, repeatedly walking into rooms I've just tidied up to reveal and how great they look. Now that you're aware of the specifics that go into making up an identity, you are ready to use this information to create excellent new habits and toss out lousy old ones. The ability to choose and change who we're being in this life is a gift, especially since so many of the habits and identities that we're walking around with weren't consciously chosen by us in the first place. Science has shown that we're genetically predisposed towards certain personality traits, and our environment also influences the behaviors and beliefs that we cling to. We picked up the majority of our most ingrained and habitual beliefs and identities from our parents, or from whoever raised us. We didn't, as 4-year-olds, think, well, I agree, it seems like an excellent idea to be disdainful of anyone who doesn't share the same religious beliefs as I do. Disliking people who are different is totally aligned with what I find fun and nourishing and meaningful. I'm in. When it comes to most of our early habits, we kind of just pick them up while hanging around the dinner table and watching every single move our parents make. Then we go ahead and form our own versions of the truth in one of two ways: by mimicking what we take in or rebelling against it. When you were a kid, the people who raised you were the centers of your universe. You relied on them to keep you safe, to get you food, to show you the ropes of this big new world of yours. You were like a little mouse nibbling up every morsel of information you could get your paws on. As a child, you hadn't developed any filters or analytical skills yet. So you basically just internalized and categorized all this intel with a big, awkward yes-no switch, and either copied or did the opposite of what you saw around you. Yeah, it's so true. I feel that too. Yep. What you lacked in analytical prowess, however, you made up for in detail. My brother Stephen discovered just how astutely he absorbed all the info from our parents when, as an adult, he accidentally caught himself on video making sandwiches and hors d'oeuvres while standing next to our dad. It was his daughter's 18th birthday, and we were all at his house for his surprise party. Steve set up a camera on the kitchen counter and pointed it toward the door so he could capture the big moment when she walked in the house. What he didn't realize was that he was also capturing himself and Dad. So when he asked me over the next morning to show me the footage, I prefaced it with, I had no idea. Why didn't anyone tell me? I had no idea. He queued up the incriminating footage, and there they were, Dad and Steve standing side by side at the counter. Big me and mini me with the same exact postures. Shoulders up, heads bent slightly forward with a little jovial shake here and there, and arms a little stiff, holding their respective knives with the same exact fingers in the same exact position, cutting with the same precise concentration, raising the same right eyebrow while listening intently to the conversation around them. Steve not only set up the camera perfectly, Dad in the foreground, his antipasta plate preparing stunt double slightly off to his right. He couldn't have imitated Dad better even if he tried. It was the most flawless, impressive performance I've ever seen. Then to think it applies to the children we've lived and raised. I know. There's no fighting it. We become our parents whether we like it or not. I don't know about you, but I sometimes hear my mother's words come flying out of my mouth with such hair-raising precision, it's like she's hiding behind a bush feeding me lines. I even find myself saying things I picked up from her that I don't necessarily agree with or want to say, but lo and behold, They come blurting out of my mouth by habit, like coughed up hairballs from my unconscious. So true. So true. Sometimes, though, we rebel against our early conditioning and we reject that what we've taken in with the same dedication, attention to detail, that we employ what we're mimicking. I credit my extreme tidiness to the fact that my mom was an avid stuff enthusiast. Surrounding herself with clutter gave her a sense of security, perhaps filling some hole from her lonely childhood. Mom was the mind that if you found a shirt you liked, you should buy it, in every color. She had about 37 baseball caps fighting for space on the hooks in her coat room. Papers, magazines, spare dog collars, and emery boards teetered in piles in every available surface. One time when I was home from college, I discovered a stockpile of old moisturizing bottles in her attic, all with less than half a container left, and all of them dating back to somewhere around 1970. I asked her if I could throw them away, to which she replied, no. To which I replied, why on earth are you keeping them? To which she replied, why on earth do you care? Fair enough. Her attic, her crusty lotion. But to me, that kind of clutter is the opposite of comforting. To me, it's a sinister evil that's intent on unraveling the fibers that hold together my soul. I became so traumatized by her collecting that I developed the opposite identity, honing a tidiness that has become so legendary that it once inspired a house guest to wake up screaming in the middle of the night after realizing with a start that she'd left a dirty spoon on my spotless kitchen counter. Sorry. Oh, okay. Living an awesome life is all about making choices that make your heart sing. And in order to do this, you must become aware of the choices you've already made. Trying to change your life without being self-aware is like using a map to try to get somewhere you've never been before. If you don't know where you're starting from, you ain't gonna get very far. Pulling back and taking stock of your habits and beliefs, your thoughts, your identity, your words, and your actions is some of the most important work you can do, because it gets you out of victim mode and puts you in control of your life. And living a life on purpose is truly where the party's at. All right, here's a success story. Gave up refined sugar. Alice, 32. The impulse to give up sugar was mostly about my skin. I would get terrible breakouts and generally didn't feel well after I ate it. When I do something, my approach is to go balls to the wall. I made a big announcement, out loud. I'm quitting sugar. And got rid of all the sugary products in my house. I did a lot of research on people who changed their lives through food. I worked alongside a doctor who was very inspirational to me, and I watched a really interesting documentary called Fed Up that demonized sugar. I also did something I call tweaking the addiction. I realized that I was addicted to eating sugar and lots of garbage to reinforce how bad I felt about myself. Once I distanced myself a little bit from sugar so it wasn't habitual anymore, I was able to see how sugar was coloring my life. I was very up and down emotionally. My skin would break up and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? So then I'd start to align myself with food that made me feel really good, and I broke the addiction to feeling bad. When you're not addicted to feeling bad about yourself anymore, you change your habits. So instead, I tweaked my addiction to feeling bad about myself and became addicted to feeling good in general and good about myself. I also got into character like I was in a play. I connected with images and internalized stories that represented me at best, truest self. I'm not a person who eats sugar. I changed my story. It's a very method acting and very helpful, because if you don't think that you are something, how can you partake in behavior associated with it? What is she using there? Her imagination. She became an actor in her own story. She changed the script. That's what manifesting is. Right? You become the center, you become the star of your story. You can change the script at any time. So, the biggest thing today is to pick an identity. I would say pick an identity that you are proud of right now. Right? So like for me, welcome back. Hopefully you're okay. Hopefully everything's okay. Indigo was saying that there was a severe weather warning. So pick an identity that you are proud of, just so that you can see from a good standpoint. So, like, she did tidiness. It's fine for now. Okay, good. She did tidiness. You want to look at the words that you use. So, like, she said, I'm an extremely tidy person. I make my bed the moment I get up in the morning. Immediately unpack and put away my stuff when I get home from a trip. So, how do you present yourself? Are you saying, "Oh, I'm so disorganized," or, I'm a student rather than a teacher if your aim is to be a teacher. But what are you proud of? What's an identity that you're proud of? Like for me, it's doing like these lives, right? I love doing these lives, and this to me puts me in like that coach position, that teacher position. I show up every day, right? I do these lectures, we'll say, right? This is something that I've put into habit for the past 2 months now, over 2 months, right? So what thoughts run through your mind when you do things like walk into a room or meet a new person? She says, if I walk into someone's office and see a bunch of stuff piled on their desk, I get anxious, and I can't fathom how they're able to concentrate with all that crap all over the place. Tidiness makes me think that all is well. I like tidiness in other people too. I notice right away when I walk into someone's house if stuff is put away or not. Your beliefs. What beliefs, conscious or unconscious, are you buying into as a result of who you're being? Being tidy makes my life easier because I always know where my stuff is. I got my own back. I have my act together. Feelings. When you think about being X, what comes up for you emotionally? Tidiness makes me feel calm, accomplished, happy, secure, safe, and cozy. And then the repeated actions. What habitual actions do you find yourself repeating because of who you're being? For me, it's straightening, fluffing, folding, stacking, sponging off, organizing, repeating, walking into rooms I've just tidied up to reveal and how great they look. All right, so you're going to pick your identity that you can identify with right now, right? What are the words you use to describe it? What are the thoughts that go through your head? What are the beliefs, the feelings, and the repeated actions? Right? So that's what we want to take a look at. So that way you can start shifting your identity too, right? If you can look at an identity that you already use and perhaps even proud of, right? It can be something you're not proud of because I know we're going to get into that. But and see how you speak about it, right? How you feel about it, what you think about it, and the actions that you have, the habits you already have in place. So my habits is showing up every day, right? Showing up doing this live. That's what a teacher does. That's what a coach does, right? They show up each and every day. The feelings around it, I enjoy this. Helping others learn how to better their lives is something that I enjoy. It makes me feel good to know that I'm inspiring others to take action for themselves, right? And I I think of myself as, it's not so much of I'm such a great person, but it makes me feel good too because as I teach, I learn more as well. So I feel like it's good all around. It's a great day. It is a great day. Thirsty Thursday. Inspiring others to be inspiring. Yes, exactly. I love that. I love doing that. I love having a part in that. So, that's something to really look at today. Take a few minutes, find things you identify with. Being a mom is an identity, right? How do you speak about motherhood, about yourself? Right? Maybe you think you're a helicopter mom, or maybe you think you're an organized mom or sports mom. Like, you have identities everywhere, right? How are you as a daughter or a son, a brother or a sister? What's your job title? you have identities everywhere. So it's important to start noticing what all you identify with. And that's how you start. Those are states. Those are states. So when I talk about happy, loving wife, right? If you're married, you're a wife or a husband. How do you identify? This morning I was a frustrated wife. Very frustrated. Last night I was a frustrated wife. But I don't want to stay there. I want to shift. I don't want to stay in that frustrated state. I want to move back into that happy, calm, loving wife. But there's days where I get frustrated. So that's what we're to really look at today. The different identities and attach it. And I'll write all this out too. I'll put it in a post on the Facebook group of what you want to identify with. Maybe I'll even take pictures of it so you can see her examples. But we'll and I'll get it in Discord too. I just need to get Discord back on my phone. I had to remove it to update TikTok so I wouldn't keep getting booted. But so yeah, so that's what we have today. Again, I will post up some of that, and if you guys want to share what you're discovering, cool. And then we can go on from there. But yeah. Jack of all and master of a few, right? So many times. There really is. You really hold so many different identities. It's incredible. It's mind-blowing when you really think about it. So, we're tarot readers, we're oracle readers, we're, teachers, we're inspirational leaders. However you see yourself. And how can you, and perhaps even in that same sense, that yes, I'm a tarot reader, but, there was one point in time that I was afraid I wasn't a good one, right? That I wouldn't be good at it, especially when I first started, right? I was just like, this is a lot. This 78 cards, are you kidding me? Right? And how can I read for somebody else? I can barely read for myself. But eventually I was like, no, I'm going to be an awesome tarot reader. I'm going to be a great tarot reader. I'm going to be able to connect with others and really help them. And I kept at it, right? I kept at it. And I feel like I am a good tarot reader. I feel like I do help people. I feel like I do inspire people to really help change their lives, even through tarot. Yes, this is going to be quite altering. I agree. This is a really a key point when you're manifesting, because you guys see it all the time when people want to be married or they want to revamp their relationships, right? They're still stuck in their old ways. We see it all the time in the questions. If you're accepting being frustrated and you're accepting being, unloved or, unappreciated, unworthy, right? That's an identity. It's part of identity of being, unappreciated lover, being an unappreciated wife, instead of shifting into appreciated wife. Because again, she even says it. There's going to be things that show up that don't prove it, and that's where you have to have those affirmations to help keep you moving, right? You don't have to use affirmations. People can use visual aids or visual, imaginings. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to notice, okay, now I'm feeling like I am frustrated, that I am, unappreciated or angry. But I don't want to continue this cycle. Instead, I know I'm worthy. I know I'm loved. I know I'm a happy, loving wife, or, whatever it is to help you shift. Like she did from the money. I can't afford that to money flows to me easily. and freely. So it's important to look at all that, right? And develop something that's going to help shift you when you catch yourself being in that frustrated mood, being in that bad mood, feeling as if you're not successful enough or feeling as if you aren't good enough, especially regarding money. I know money, she talks a lot about money. That was a big deal for her. That's something she really overcame. And I mean, and I get it. I think a lot of us get it, right? We feel stuck. We feel as if we're going to be this way forever because that's how it's always been. But we get to change that. So, all right. I will get that post up, and I'll get the video posted as well later on, probably by noon again-ish, depending on what's going on with the amazing, energetic toddler. So, all right, guys. I hope you all have a thankful Thursday. Let's be grateful today. Let's be grateful for everything that we experience and that we learn. And let's really make it a great day. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.